let's see if this is going to be better. I changed a few settings in my encoder, on the video encoder settings, and I'm currently running at 22 FPS. I lowered the FPS a little bit, and I increased the ALSA thread queue size to be a little bit larger. So now it's at 8,192. And I haven't been seeing any of the ALSA buffer overruns yet, so we'll see how well this works. And YouTube is still complaining that the quality of the video stream is not optimal. So maybe there are some more improvements that I could make. But I think the most important thing is to try to get rid of this sound skipping issue that I've been having. Let's see. Maybe the sound skipping issue is gone now, because I'm not seeing any of the ALSA buffer overruns yet. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to continue with my PCB assembly. Let's see. So I got a bunch of boards here that I got from GLC PCB, along with the Stencil. And I'm going to be assembling 3 boards because I have components for 3 boards. And right now I just want to make sure that the boards are fastened on this plate, on this piece of cardboard. And then I'm going to be applying the solder paste with the Stencil. Let's see here. And I'm going to put my gloves on again. So this shouldn't move. Then next, I'm going to cut a bit of double-sided tape. Double-sided tape is really good. It works for so many things. It's kind of like Gaffa, but double-sided. Universal type of tape. So maybe I'll actually place the bits of tape a little bit so they extend a little bit beyond the perimeter of the PCB, so that I can place the last board on the same bits of tape. So, I've got a few bits of tape. I'm just going to remove the plastic so that I expose the sticky area. This is the first time I'm using a stencil, so this is all kind of a journey, an experiment to see how well this will work. Let's see now. So I'll just place them like this. Actually, place this one like this. And the last one. And if you're watching this live, then feel free to comment in the live chat. And if you're not watching this live, then subscribe to my channel so that you can get notified when I broadcast live. Let's see. So, my stencil is a bit shitty now. The stencil is very sensitive to being touched. It doesn't like to be touched. Gets fingerprints all over it. Okay. So the idea, I think, is to align the stencil And to have some more of this double-sided tape, such that I can make sure that the stencil is sitting in place before I apply the solder paste. Because I want the stencil to be completely still. I'm going to place a few bits of this double-sided tape on the sides. Just fold the tape a few times. I'm not placing the tape on the boards, I'm placing it sort of by the side of the board, so that the stencil can be flat against the board. I just sort of fold this piece, and then I'm just placing it sort of like on the side of the board, but I'm going to be placing it on this side here. So let's start with this board. Maybe that's enough. I don't know. Let's see. So holes are aligned. Just pressing the stencil against the tape seems to do the trick. Let's see. Seems to be good enough. There's a little bit of misalignment. I wonder though how I'm gonna do with the other boards, because the stencil is maybe I should have actually just taken one board at a time and then put it aside, because this is not going to work with a stencil that is so big. But what I could do is I could actually remove the other boards for now, and I can use the tape that I already have for the stencil instead. This tape is really sticky. Let's see. Okay, there's one bit of tape here. So let's start with one board, apply the solder paste, and then apply the solder paste to the others. And I think it would actually make sense to remove some of this tape here. Let's see if I can just separate this into just 2 layers, because having 4 layers was a bit too much, just sticking out beyond the board. So I don't want the stencil hovering above the board. I want to stencil against the board. So I'm just going to cut the tape like this, and let me just remove the plastic. So, like this. Damn, this plastic is... There we go. And just fold it in two like this. And then I'll place it a little bit farther away from the board so I can stick the stencil to it. So, I can see how this piece be perfectly aligned. Right? So I'm going to press some of this solder paste onto the stencil. I can use a piece of PCB as well to just apply the solder paste. Let's see. So I'm just gonna remove that, and I need something to push this. See if I can get this on the camera. So let's see, I'll just apply a little bit on this side, and then I'll distribute it with this piece of board. I don't have any solder paste that's not in a tube. Seems to work really nicely. Very nice, very nice. It's amazing how much solder paste goes through the holes. All of the pads are nicely covered with solder paste now. This is very nice. This is so much better than trying to cover the pads with solder paste manually. I'm always getting too much solder paste or too little, or just creating a mess. This is very nice. The only problem that I feel I'm having with this is that the stencil temporarily leaves the surface of the board. So it's not, because it's not perfectly flat against the board, it's kind of wobbly. It sometimes lifts up and then it goes down again. So I'm guessing some of the solder paste gets smudged between the stencil and the board. We'll see how that works out after removing the stencil. So very exciting to see how this works out. This is the first time I'm soldering using a stencil. And I'm also excited to see how long time this is going to take. soldering this board one component at a time would take forever. Okay, this really needs more solder paste. And maybe I'll just place the stencil actually straight over the board and see how well I can do without any tape. Because it gets smudged anyway, so it doesn't really matter as much. But even though it gets smudged, it's still perfectly fine and much better than not having a stencil, because all of the smudging is gonna get reflowed once I start soldering. So I'm gonna be soldering with my hot air soldering iron. This was a little bit this does have a few glitches. Some pads are not covered. You can clearly see that on the main CPU. So it was a little bit better to work with a stencil completely custom than just move from top to bottom. But I can fix that. It's small enough problem to fix. Okay. Oh, so many comments. Have you got a package with GLC PCB logo or Chinese text on it? I'm not sure. Let me check. Yes, I got a package with GLC PCB logo on the box. I found that neutral gloves make my hands sweaty, while these ones are pretty nice. These gloves are pretty nice. They're open on the top side and they have neutral cover on the bottom side, so much better. I haven't checked KiCad 5.1. Right, interactive HTML bomb. Let me test that. I'm gonna try that. I'm not going to be using any oven or hot plate for reflow. I'm going to be just using my heat gun, which works really well. So I just take the heat gun and I reflow the components. Works really good for a small number of boards. Alright, so interactive HTML bomb. Is that generated using this plugin? Okay, I'm gonna get this to work. It doesn't seem to be the HTML bomb that I have, but let's see. KiCad interactive HTML bomb. Okay, pretty cool. Very nice. I'm definitely gonna try that.